Hi there, it's Kristen from k.becca, and today we'll be making this cute hello card, which features a pattern background made from die-cut shapes. So before I started filming, I cut out all of the shapes for my pattern using my Silhouette Cameo. All of the cut files that I'm using are a part of the Hello Conversation Bubble set that you can find in my shop. I'll link to that below, and I'll also link to my shop in the Silhouette online store where you can find the individual cut files. For this project, I scaled the shapes to 80% of their original size using Silhouette Design Studio. Before I cut anything, I worked out a loose idea for the pattern and knew how I wanted the colors and shapes to be positioned. Planning things out actually worked very well for this project. Trust me, it does not always work out this well. But that's just part of the process and part of the fun of crafting. I also cut a piece of white cardstock to A2 size, which is 4 1/4 inches wide by 5 1/4 inches tall. At first, I was planning on adhering the die cuts directly to the card base, but I found that it was easier to work on a separate flat panel because I didn't have to deal with the fold on the side of the card base and the added bulk and the card always wanting to pop open. Now I'm going to start laying out my shapes over the white cardstock panel. This is my favorite part because I love making patterns. To me, creating pattern is kind of like putting a puzzle together, and I really enjoy playing around with the pieces and figuring out where I think they'll look best. You'll see that I'm nudging some of the pieces into slightly different positions after I place them, so I can make room for the pieces below. Once I'm finished positioning the die cuts, I'll start gluing them to the cardstock panel using Tombow Mono Glue. I'll start with the top left shape and work my way down, just like I did when I was positioning the die cuts earlier. For now, I'll leave the interiors of the shapes, which you'll notice off to the left. As I'm gluing, I try to keep in mind that parts of some of the die cuts will go beyond the edge of the panel, and I don't glue those areas. I don't always remember, but I try. So I'm going to continue gluing the shapes in place, and after I'm finished, I'll trim off the overhanging pieces of the conversation bubbles with scissors. I didn't notice until later that the interior of the Y on the top left howdy bubble had popped off while I was cutting. Luckily, I found it afterwards and glued it in place, so you'll see it in the final card, but not in the video. After I'm done trimming the bubbles, I'll take the interiors of the letters and glue those in place with the help of a sticky tool like the Quick Stick, which is what I'm using here. I find that this kind of tool really helps a lot when you're gluing smaller pieces in place. But if you don't want to use the letter interiors at all, then you definitely don't have to. I'm actually not using the interiors of any of the A's because they were pretty small. When I'm finished gluing the interiors of the letters, the card front is finished. The only thing left to do is to adhere the panel to the front of the card. I used a double-sided adhesive runner for this because it's a lot quicker and easier than using regular glue. My original idea was to add another bubble cut from white cardstock or some other contrasting color to the bottom right corner of the front of the card, but I ended up really liking the pattern on its own and didn't think that it needed anything else. So instead, I decided to add hi and heart conversation bubbles on the interior of the card for a fun little surprise. I placed them a bit above the center of the inside of the card and glued them in place just like I did with the die cuts on the front of the card. The reason that I put them a little above center is so I'll have some extra space to write a little note inside. Once I'm done gluing the die cuts to the inside of the card, it's finished. I hope that you enjoyed this project and technique. You can find a full list of supplies and links below, and if you'd like to see more videos like this one, then please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching!